in court.
Yeah.
We this coming November.
Yes,
2 years ago.
Yeah, you are lucky. It's a civil matter, on a civil matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, on criminal matters, it's not me who's saying it, it's the judge president of the country.
To ensure that she is comfortable.
Mrs.
To ensure
is
that
there
she is
a relative
comfortable.
who can sit
In
outside?
2031, President Zuma in 2031 will be what, almost 90. You understand? So it's a system. It's not illegal.
Maybe ask the court security. Maybe ask the court security to give you.
Mrs.
Luthuli is still under a former office.
We must change the
Mrs.
law.
Luthuli is still under a former office.
We must change that right now.
Miss Training proceed.
Thank you, my lady.
Miss Training
We're out
proceed.
of time.
My lady just wanted to flight. We just wanted
Let's talk
to
Trump quickly.
flight some photos from
The tariffs happened. He
some
had a whole
photos from
pie chart
exhibit
because as a man-child,
F,
he only understands big diagrams and pictures.
the ones which were provisionally handed in yesterday.
We must have
Miss Training proceed.
Flight. We just wanted to fly some photos from flight. Some photos from exhibit F. Fly some photos from the ones which were provisionally handed in. Fly some photos from flight. Some photos from flight. You make mention of
because
Mabaso,
announcements about him. I think he's corrupt.
that he was the manager of the store, not level
There are
trading.
rules around.
Besides him being the
what is it
manager
called?
or the
Inside
person who
trading.
worked at the store, do you
There's
know
even an
of
argument
any
that
Mabaso
might
would
made
have had
purchases or sales at Wall Street?
Yes,
Based on the information they had
they
already.
have. But that's what business people exist for. We must
Any the relationship
is a businessman.
Yes.
He's got business all over the world.
No,
He too are buying
his
cryptocurrency.
wife
Trump's
They've got their own cryptos.
was well known
but
to
they're
me.
in government.
His wife and his daughter.
His own minister at Doge.
The daughter is still alive. And Mr. Mabaso is the one who told me that him, together with Mr. Mumalo, they took it upon themselves to go and clean the blood from the spot where my father-in-law fell.
ngale kwana ngibuchazile ukuthi wayesebenza lapha esitolo njengemanager abukho obunye ngale kokuthi ke undodakazi wakhe nomkakhe bengibazi kakhulu nanokuthi futhi ke yena noNqumalo ibona bahamba yohlanza noma bo kulumaka lapha ke igazi la kwakuwele khona ubabezala wami.
Is Mabaso still alive?
Mabaso is deceased as well.
Cha naye uMabaso akasaphili.
Okay. And you talk about the employees, or you talk about the land that was owned by the deceased. Did you know any of the employees that worked on the land?
No, I didn't.
Cha angibazi ke abasebenzi ababesebenza lapha ababesebenza ke kule indawo lezi noma ke kulama plaza lawo ayi now.
And to your knowledge, was Mr. Mabaso ever called to come and testify at the initial inquest held in 1967, to your knowledge?
To my knowledge, no. I don't know.
Cha
He was never called.
ngokwazi kwami ke akazange abizwe lapha uphenyo lokuqala ngalolu daba
Okay.
ngonyaka 1967.
Let us look at paragraph 13 of your statement.
Paragraph
13, my lady. Just want to direct you to the exact line. Apologies, my lady. Right. About 8 lines from the beginning of paragraph 13, it starts with before, the word before. 8 lines down. Can you see that? On paragraph 13, if you count 8 lines,
Yes, I find it.
it states before leaving the shop, people that worked in and around the area, people from the area, indunas, and anyone who was interested would gather at the shop where he would read the newspaper. You see that?
Yes, I do.
Yebo uyakubona ke lokho ukuthi ke ngaphambi kokuthi asuke lapha esitolo abantu abasebenza khona nabasebenza ke lapha ke ngakule ndawo abantu basendaweni indula noba nabanye ke nje ababe netshisekelo noma nothando ke la bazohlangana ndawonye ke lapha esitolo ke lapha ezobafundela khona ke iphephandaba.
For clarity's sake, ma'am, the word induna, what does that mean? What is indunas?
Induna, I would define as the chief's assistant, his right hand personnel.
bechaze induna ke lama ibuzwa ukuthi cha induna ukhuluma ngabasizi ba inkosi.
Okay. And then you state that the news would be discussed and they would delve into politics. You see that?
Yes.
Okay. Can you explain what would be discussed at these gatherings, especially with regards to politics?
Because I wasn't actually present when they were discussing, this is what I was told happened at the shop. But I would guess that they would discuss the state of the nation, so to speak, the state of the way people were living conditions of the black man especially, and the need for people to unite and fight against injustices.
Ngenxa ukuthi ngangisuke ngingekho ke lapha ke njoba ngithi mina bakufundwa ke la ingxoxo zabo ziholele ekutheni kuze kugcine ngombuso babexoxa nje uma aqagelela ukuthi phela kwaxoxwa ngezimo zangaleso sikhathi zohulumeni ngaleso sikhathi ingcinamba ababebhekana ke nazo idingo nanokuthi futhi manje xoxwa lento yobumbano ke phela manje ukuthi kwakufuneke kube nobumbano.
Okay, you say that you were told. Who told you this?
After my father-in-law was deceased, my mother-in-law told me to go work at the shop so I could look after the family. So while I was there working, people would relate over and over what my father-in-law did at the shop. So that's how I knew.
Njoba ngithi ngatshelwa ke phela emveni kokuba esekhotheme ubabezala wami inkosi umamezala wami wathi angihambe ngiyosebenza lapha esitolo ke kuze ngilekelele nami emndenini. Sengisebenza lapha esitolo kabantu babengaphezulu ukukhuluma ngayo inkosi izinto ke izenza ke ila ngase ngicosha khona mase ngithola lokho ke ebengikusho.
If you recall earlier in your evidence, you mentioned something about the banning orders, that he was not allowed to be with more than one person at a time. These banning orders, do you know when they started?
I'm not sure when they started, but when I joined the family, he was already under house arrest.
Noma ngingenalo kahle ulwazi lokuthi imithetho noma ke le gweba ekade ke enazo ezazimvimbela ke ukuba adibane nabantu abangaphezulu koyedwa zaqala nini kodwa uqala uma kufika ngishade lapha kuleli khaya ubevele ke eboshiwe ukuthi uboshiwe lapha endlini.
Did he ever explain to you, or do you know why he was under house arrest?
I would say fleetingly, not in detail as to why. But he also expected me to understand because he had already been schooling me in these matters.
Ngale kokuthi ngize ke ngichaze nginabe ke kodwa ngenxa ukuthi wayevele ke esengikhansela ke efuna ngisiqonde ke isimo ke noma ulwazi ke ilapho ke ngangikhansela khona mangicoshe ke loyo ngangicosha.
So from your answer I take it you did not necessarily know why, but you accepted that he was under house arrest.
I accepted that he was under arrest, but also I knew that it was because the government of the day, the apartheid government, was against him instigating people to fight for their rights.
Kona ke la ngase ngikumukela ngiqonda futhi lokuboshwa kwakhe kodwa ngalesa sikhathi noma uhulumeni ngasasikhathi ubandlululo kwakuwukuthi phela yena uphaphamisa abantu noma ugqugquzela abantu ukuthi phela mabalwele amalungelo abo ay ababesengcindezelekweni kuwona.
Let's go to paragraph 15. And I'm asking this for clarity's sake. You mentioned that when he left the house, he was fine, he was healthy, and in good spirits.
Yes.
What do you mean by this?
I mean, by saying that he was fine and in good spirits, I mean he was normal, like a person who is leaving for work and in good spirits, and had no complaints.
So no complaints of ill health?
Yes.
Isizathu ukuthi ngibe ngalendlela ukuthi wayehamba lesikhathi ephuma nje wayephilile kahle nasemoyeni ngoba waye njengenjwayelo ke nje kungekho khalazo ukuthi mhlambe kwakhona kubhlungu kona noma khona kwakumphethe waye njoba nje simazi engenalo.
Okay. And paragraph 17, you state that someone came and
sorry.
reported. Sorry, my lady.
We know that he didn't die of an illness. So I think perhaps if you can elaborate further, that he was in good health and in good spirit. What I mean is that if he had died of maybe some medical condition, then his being in good health or otherwise would carry weight. But if you say he was normal, do you mean that in the sense that he didn't look like a person who is disoriented or who's likely to commit some suicide or likely to be a danger to himself?
Yes, my lady. I mean just that. He didn't look like a person who was even under stress.
Okay.
I think suicide was furthest from his mind. He was a preacher, a God-fearing person, and he knew that under that he can't take his own life. He has to wait for God to call him.
Thank you.
Manginezezelela ke kuloko njoba kubuza ukuthi phela manje njoba ngichaza ukuthi wayesesimeni nje sikahle ephilile uthi cha akukho ngcindezi ayibuke ngaphansi kwayo noma mhlambe ebuka nje umuntu wayengakwazi ukuthi athathe umphefumulo wakhe sizokhumbula ukuthi lo muntu ube eshumayela emsaba uNkulunkulu emhlonipha uyazi futhi nomthetho kaNkulunkulu ukuthi akufanelekile noma kuvumelekile ukuthatha umphefumulo kwakufanele alinde isikhathi sakhe sokuthi aze abizwe.
Thank you. And in paragraph 17, you
Both. I didn't know him, and I can't even identify him if I see him today.
La nje bangikhulume ngoda ukuthi khona umuntu wafika wazobika ukuthi ubaba usethathwa esibhedlela. Izathu okungamdaluli-ke ngabe mhlawumbe ukungamazi noma ukungasamkhumbula. Cha, impela ngangingamazi lo muntu wangishona manje uma engavezwa ngeke ngikwazi ngisho ukumkhomba ukuthi okuyena abani lo muntu wafika ezohlaba ke lo mkhosi.
This person requested you to inform the family that the deceased or Chief Luthuli was in hospital. Did you indeed inform the family?
Yes, I informed my husband.
Ke lo muntu njengoba ezosho ukuthi ke nakatshela umndeni ngokuthi umufi inkosi yayisithathiwe isiwe lapha esibhedlela ukuthi yebo mebuza ukuthi wawutshela nomndeni ukuthi yebo ngatshela umyeni wami.
And how did you go about informing your husband?
We had a phone at home, so by phone, telephone.
Yebo ifoni sasinawo lapha ekhaya ucingo. Manje ke ngabe sengimshayela ke ucingo iyona ndlela engamazisa ngayo.
Okay, and do you recall where he was at that time, your husband, when you informed him of the news?
Yeah, he was at university.
Yebo ngangimazi umyeni wami ukuthi wayekade kuphi ngalesikhathi ngimshayela ke wayesenyuvesi.
Of Zululand?
Yes.
Waye lapha enyuvesi
Yes,
yaseZululand.
Ms. Chairman, I'd like the witness to describe this person, even if she cannot identify him. Male, female,
As it pleases my
did
lady.
he look familiar? Like, we are here in Crowdville. Did this person look familiar in the sense that you would say he's from a cane fields or he's from, you know what I mean?
As it pleases my lady.
I don't want to use the word
I
like
will ask the question.
formal in a tie or what.
Okay, as it pleases my lady. So the court would like to know, let's go back to the person who came and informed you about Chief Luthuli being in the hospital. Yes, you state that you did not know the person, but just going back, if you can, did he seem, was it, first of all, was it a male or a female, if you recall, who informed you?
Yes. What I recall is he was a tall gentleman in casual clothes, Zulu speaking. That's about all. But it was a male. It was a male.
Kona ke lo muntu wafika wazohlaba umkhosi kwakuwesilisa emude ayikhuluma isiZulu egqoke nje casual.
So just looking back, do you think he would have been somebody from the community?
Yes, I think he was from the community of Tembeni, around where the sugarcane fields are. I think he was from there. He was around in his 30s. He was a young man.
Kwakuseyinsizwa ke lo yamlisa wayela ko 30 ngicabanga ukuthi umuntu wakhona lapha endaweni lapha eThembeni mangala kwakukhona khona izimoba.
And this was at around 9 a.m. in the morning that he came.
I don't want to say I am sure of the time.
Okay.
But it was mid-morning.
Mid-morning.
Not very long after my father-in-law left the house.
Kona noma ngeke ngishaya phansi ngonyana noma ngiqinisekise lesikhathi sabo 9 kodwa kwakuyikhathi nje zasekuseni ngakudala kakhulu kade ehambile ubaba ezalwa wami ekuseni.
And if you can recall, ma'am, At what time did you arrive at the hospital?
I can't recall. I can't say for sure what time it was, but I didn't waste much time after I was told. I just changed into fresh clothing, took the bus, and went. I think it took from the time I was told that my father-in-law had been taken there.
Noma ke ngingafuni ukuthi ngithi isikhathi ngoba ngisazi ukuthi kwakusikhathi senqo. Kodwa kusukela ngitsheliwe umbiko ukuthi ubaba usesibhedlela akuzange kube isikhathi esingana ngoba kwaba ukuthi nje ngishintshe lezi ingubo engigqokile ngifake ezinye bese ke ngiyahamba ke mhlawumbe kwangikhathi isikhathi esingango 30 minutes kuya ehoreni ukufinyelela lapha esibhedlela.
Could it have been maybe between 12 at 1 or just before 1 p.m.? Is it possible?
I think it was around 12.
It was around 12.
Yeah.
Ngiyacabanga kwakuyikhathi zo 12 nje mangicabangela.
Let's go back to this man. Where did he disappear to?
My lady, I don't really know.
You did not see him. I mean,
I-
like
I only-
he's coming to you at your home.
Yes.
Probably, was he riding a bicycle? Was he on foot? And obviously, after having told you that, what happened to him? Or did he wait for you to prepare yourself to go to hospital?
My lady he looked like somebody who had been brisk walking. And after he told me, and I also was in shock, he left, disappeared. I've never seen him again.
Okay.
I don't riding a bicycle or what, but it looked like he had been walking.
Oh, thank you. Yes, Mr.
Kodwa ebuka nje umuntu wayekade ehambele isikhathi efike ezongitshela ngoba phela mengitshela lolu daba ngathuka angizange sakwazi nokumbona ke la ukuthi ushoni ephi wakwanyamalala kanjalo.
You mentioned that when you told us at outpatients, you say that I was directed to the room where he was being attended to. Was anyone else present in that room when you entered?
What I recall is the hospital staff was in and out, nurses in and out.
Uthi ke lesikhathi ngela lapha njoba ke afikela la khona lezigule ezilashelwa ngaphandle esekhonjiswa igumbi leli ayekulona akukhumbulayo ukuthi amanesi ayengene ephume
Okay. Was there so at that point in time when you entered the room, was there any familiar face to you or somebody that you knew besides the nurses walking in and out at that time, if you can remember?
What I remember is I only focused on my father-in-law, the state he was in. I can't remember who was around, except that shortly after I was in that room, then my in-laws, my other in-laws started coming in, like my brother-in-law, Christian Matunjini Luthuli, and my sister-in-law, Thandeka Kabashi Luthuli.
Cha noma ke ngingeke ngikhumbule ke abantu lapha ababe khona lapha ngaphakathi mhlambe ke kulombuzo ukuthi mhlambe kwakhona ubuso engangijwayele ngabona lapha mina ngagxila kuba bezala wami nakwisima ekusona futhi emsikhashana nje ade sengifikile kwafika abasemzini ubhuti wamasemzini kwase kuba udadewethu wasemzini Thandeka noChristine.
Your in-laws whom you have just described, that is Christian Majundin Luthuli and Thandeka Luthuli, is any one of them alive today?
Yes. Thandeka Luthuli Kabashi is alive.
Yebo kulabe ngibabalile ke la uThandeka Luthuli Cabasho usaphila.
Thank you. As you've mentioned, you said when you entered the room, your focus was on your father-in-law. Can you take us through what it is that you saw when you entered and saw your father-in-law? What did you see in respect of your father-in-law?
He was lying on a stretcher with this wound at the top of his head, which was oozing blood, and he recognized me. And again, when Christian and Thandeka came in, he also recognized them, and he tried to talk to us. Only the words wouldn't come out. He was mumbling, he was struggling to make us understand, I think, what had happened, but we couldn't make sense of it.
Hayi ngakubona ke lesikhathi sengene lapha kubabezala wami isimo sakhe la kwaku ilengozi ke nje eyayi inkulu isekhanda phezulu ekhanda kuyena eyayivuza igazi futhi wangibona lesikhathi ke sengilapha ngaphakathi ngoba ngisho sengene la ubhuti wami wasemzini nosisi wami wasemzini nabo ababona ukuthi ke uzama ukukhuluma akhulumeka sikwazi ukuzwa lento ayishoyo kahle kahle mhlawumbe wayesefuna ukusitshela ke ukuthi kwenzakaleni ngelishwa kwa ukuthi leyo mzamo yakho noma lokho ayekuzama asikwazanga ukumuzwa.
Now, you mentioned a wound on his head. For demonstration purposes, I know you're wearing a hat. It may be a little bit difficult, but for demonstration purposes, are you able to show us where exactly on the head this wound was, if you can recall, of course?
Yes, ma'am. I can take off the head.
Okay.
No, you don't have to.
But it was, the wound was towards the back of the head, but not right at the back, just here.
At the top.
If I can use my interpreter here.
Yes.
Here. Just here.
Just
Thank you.
the top.
Thank you. The witness has indicated where on the head the wound was. Towards the back, but not at the back.
Not right at the back.
Yes.
Thank you, my lady.
Fakazi besikhombisa lapho ilengozi noma lokulimala akwakukhona lapha ke kumuva.
Oh, Ms. Chwane, there are photographs, newspaper clippings which show the deceased. Just give
My lady, unfortunately we do not have photographs of the deceased.
No, not as he was injured.
Yes, my lady. Oh, you mean of the deceased?
In the amongst the 600 pages, although it's provisionally admitted, there is also Exhibit E, the photo album compiled by Luthuli. Isn't it an exhibit before court?
Let me refer to the exhibit, my lady. My lady, Exhibit E is resembling photographs of the museum.
Oh,
And-
okay.
Yes, my lady. If my lady can give us a chance, perhaps during the adjournment, we will look for those pictures and then maybe we can come back to this point if that is in order with my lady. Because what is depicted in Exhibit E, it's a statue of the deceased sitting on a chair.
And what is photograph 24?
24.
According to the key,
That's a photograph of the deceased. My
Is that
lady,
the
would
deceased?
you like me to? Okay, my lady. Don't have it scanned, do we? Okay.
do you think we can use it?
We can use it, my lady. Photograph. Do you see the photographs in front of you, ma'am? Just go to photograph 24. Unfortunately, the pages are not numbered, but just look for photograph 24.
Is it possible, looking at photo 24, to show, firstly, to confirm that depicts the deceased, Chief Luthuli?
Does photograph 24
Yes.
depict the deceased Chief Albert Luthuli?
Yes, it is my father-in-law.
Iyaqinisekisa masibheka lezi ithombe ke ukuthi ngempela kule ithombe ke iyavela inkosi uLuthuli.
And from these photographs, is it at all possible for you to indicate where you saw the wound?
On the top one, there's something that in Zulu we call ukakai. I'm not sure what
The crown of the head.
the crown of the head. It was just behind the crown of the head. The wound was just behind it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Siyachaza ke ufakazi ke ukuthi ke ile isinxeba noma ke lokulimala lalingekho la ukhakhayini kodwa nje ngale kokhakhaya.
Okay. Let's go back to the wound, ma'am. You mentioned that it was oozing blood. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yebo kunjalo ukuthi ngithe inxeba lela yinalo lalopha liphuma igazi.
Was it a lot of blood that was coming out of the wound?
No. And it wasn't continuous. I think at the time when he was trying to talk, it would ooze out. In Zulu, I would say, ngathi yakafula, ngathi yakafuleka igazi.
Yeah, it's more or less the same, my lady, because at the time when he was talking or when he was attempting to talk, that's when the blood would then ooze.
So
Or-
intermittently.
except if the witness
Would come out.
will come out, yes.
Yeah,
If it's
because
previously or
oozing seems to
It's not continuous.
be continuous.
Yeah.
so at the time when the chief was talking, then that's when the blood will then be coming out.
Okay. So it was not all the time, it was
Not
not
all.
oozing. Okay.
Yes.
And you say that the wound was not bandaged.
No.
Leli nxeba futhi lalingabhandishiwe ke la.
Is there anything else that you noticed with respect to the deceased around his head or his face?
No. There was nothing else that I noticed that was wrong or that had been affected in his face. Nothing.
Akukho kunye engakuqaphela ke la. Mhlawumbe kwakuphambene ke noma kunye kokulimala kwakusebusweni bakhe.
Okay, and for clarity's sake, you mentioned that in the same paragraph, that's paragraph 17, you mentioned that in the afternoon you were called to see him. Could one gather that you saw him once, then you went out and you saw him again, or what does that mean when you say that in the afternoon you were called to see him?
She would?
Whether she came in, saw him once, and then went out again, and then came back to see him.
No, by afternoon, I mean after 12.
Okay.
No, that's about the time when I got there. I only saw him that once.
Okay.
Uma ekhuluma ngodaba lokuthi kwathi ke malate noma ntambama babizwa bambona. Ukhuluma ngalesa sikhathi lesa kwakungale kwa12. Isona sikhathi akhuluma ngaso ke leso. Wambona kanye.
In paragraph 18, for clarity's sake, you mentioned that he was mumbling. That's when he saw you and your sister and brother-in-law.
Yes.
So does that mean you did not in any way, or you were not in any way able to gather anything that he was saying at that time?
Yes, we couldn't make out what he was saying. We couldn't make out the words. The words wouldn't come out of him. He was trying hard to communicate with us, but we couldn't decipher what he was saying.
Yebo ngishilo ukuthi kena wayezama kusemandleni onke ukukhuluma kodwa ukuthi awuphumeli umsindo loyo ukukhuluma ukuthi simuze ukuthi uthini kwakuyikona nje phela kunyakaza kodwa kungekho umsindo esasuza noma ukwazi ukuthola inkulumo simuze ukuthi uthini.
Okay. And then you say that his one arm was limp.
Yes.
If it is at all possible, can you recall whether it was the left or the right arm? If you cannot recall, you can just simply state you can't recall.
If I remember correctly, it was the left arm.
Uma sengikhuluma ngalesandla sakhe nje kufanele ukuthi singanyaka singanjani sasifeel ilesi sesinqele makuthi ngisakhumbula kahle.
You mentioned seeing his face and not seeing anything else on his face except for the wound that was on his head.
Yes.
Do I take it that you did not notice any injuries on his face?
I did not notice any injuries on his face. What was glaring was this wound. Maybe if there were any bruises, they wouldn't have been as serious as the wound.
Okay.
Elalibona noma liqamile ile nxeba leli elalisekhanda. Uma kuthi kokukhona okunye kwakunga mhlambe noma ngabe kwakuyi imvimbo thizeni ekhona yayingayimbi kangaka ukuthi mhlambe yayingaqapheleka njenganaleli yanxebe eliphezulu ekhanda.
And the rest of his body, were you able to see the rest of his body whilst he was lying on the stretcher?
I think he was covered with a sheet, if I remember well. But the arm was not covered.
Uma ngaphazami ngathi esithiwe khaviwe umzimba lo ngeshit kodwa ingalo le engaphandle yona engamboziwe.
I take it that in the same paragraph you mentioned you did mention your in-laws, that was Christian and Tandeka, but I also see the word pastor. Was there a pastor that was present as well in the room?
I seem to recall, but I can't be too sure.
You can't be too sure if there was a pastor present in the room.
Noma ngasela sisiqinisekiso sokuthi ngabe kwakukhona nomfundisi noma abafundisi abayekhona laphana. Angisakhumbulisi kahle kuloko.
And the last sentence of that paragraph, you say, quietly, Luthuli slipped away from us. What were you observing at that moment when you say this?
Yeah. he stopped trying to speak. Yeah, and just lay there. I would say peacefully, but of course it wasn't peaceful. But he just lay there.
He lay there and died.
Yes.
According to you, your observation.
Yeah, that was my observation. That was my observation, that he stopped trying to speak and just lay there, lay back and.
Impela la ebengichaza ke la ngokuthi ke wabe sesiphunyuka kanjalo ukuthi phela manje sakhona kusenjalo wavela wayeka ke lokuzama ukukhuluma ke wayetha nje kwakulala kwakhe kusho ukuthi yona ndlela ahamba ngayo.
I can see you becoming a little bit emotional. Are you okay to carry on? Would you like? Are you fine?
Yes,
you sure?
You can carry on.
Okay.
It's 5-1.
It is 5-1.
You can give her a break.
We can give her that break. As my lady pleases.
Mrs. Luthuli will give you a break. Please make sure that you contact Mr. Ngobo to direct you to your grandchild. You remain under oath. We'll see you at 2:15. Thanks. Quarter, James.